and welcome back to the Wheel Talk podcast. My name is Abby Mickey. I'm taking over from Matt and Georgie on the ground of the Tour de France Femme avec Zwift this morning for another Director Files. Shawn Clarke is back with reports from the car from stages, 3, 4, 5. He's going to talk through his observations of the race, what he's been seeing behind the scenes, and I super grateful to Shawn for sending over an audio diary when he's so busy, but also I just thought that for you all, the listeners, it would be interesting to get a little bit of behind the scenes from a totally different perspective than what we normally talk about. So, without further ado, here's Shawn.
Hey, Abby and the Wheel Talk podcast. It's Shawn Clarke here, coming in for another, maybe a bit lengthy audio diary. It's been a few days. Lots to talk about. First of all, it's my birthday today, and I think nothing shows the tour and cycling in general like having your birthday at a race, because, a bit like when we won the other day, the show just has to go on. It's kind of nice because you spend so much time with all these people, the staff and the athletes, and it's special to celebrate your birthday with them. But my partner, Caro, used to race, and I think over the 13 or so years we've been together, we've maybe celebrated 4 birthdays on the actual day. So it becomes a bit of a tradition. You know, you're with the team for your birthday, and it's it's a little bit of a celebration shoehorned into a regular day. And then, you get to have your birthday once you're home, which is kind of fun. And then we have an extra step that if I end up in Canada somewhat close, I can maybe throw a third celebration in there. So today was a pretty normal day, even though it was my birthday, and we started in Futuroscope, which was a longtime supporter of women's cycling. So I think that was a cool nod from the tour to start there. I know there's a lot of Australians. Jess, I think Brody, Sarah Roy, for sure, raced for Futuroscope. My girlfriend started her European career there, Caro. So it was kind of cool to start in the theme park that's been sponsoring women's cycling since before it was cool to sponsor women's cycling. So that was a cool nod. The last few days have been pretty crazy. I don't know if the TV for the fans really shows the stress and the speed in the peloton. We can't really complain about the TV coverage because it's been great and such a step up in the last few years. But we do miss out seeing those first few hours. And the last couple of days, I think the breakaway has had a real chance of surviving, and all the teams know that. So those first hour and a half have just been crazy. Like I think yesterday, the average speed of the first hour was 48k an hour. Today was 47k an hour. It's just nuts. Like I know yesterday the stories on the bus after the race, which I love. They were talking about how I think it was like Ruby, Letizia was gapped off the back with Demi and a couple others, and they were doing like 350 watts, full gas, and not really making headway. And they're with all these favorites. And today there was a crash pretty early on. Letizia said she did 5 minutes all out on the bumper of a car in a group of people, and it still took over 5 minutes to get back. And she wasn't even in the crash. She just got held up by it. So it's been really fast, really hectic. I think this race is really compact and it makes for really good racing. But for those of the fans who watch the men's race, you always see these first week nerves or the first few days nerves of the Tour de France for the men. And then you mix that with the women where all those nerves are still there because it's the biggest show on earth and everybody wants to perform and everybody's ready to go. But then also, because it's so short, there's GC battles layered in there. So it adds to the stress. It adds to no one wanting to miss something. No one wanting to crash. getting gapped off the back. So yeah, I mean, when we do the debriefs, a lot of it is just the stress, the danger, how hard it is to move up. You know, there's a few riders on our team that on most races don't have any issue positioning, that are just, they're really struggling in this race. And normally they're really good bike handlers. They're really good in the pack. They're really good racers. And they just, you know, we're just like, hey, you know, this phase we're trying to get everybody to the front, and they just literally can't get there. So I think that's just the tour. You know, it's a bit faster. It's a bit more hectic. Everybody cares a bit more for longer into the race, which makes all that positioning just that much harder. We're seeing lots of crashes today, especially. You know, yesterday there was crosstail most of the day, so it was a bit hectic. Saw some crashes, and today I think, honestly, the first few days have just been flat out racing, and people are getting tired. I think that's causing the crashes. The racing has been more or less full gas from the beginning every day, and I think the peloton's just tired, and that's when crashes happen, when you're not at your full cognitive ability, you're not maxing that out, and I don't know. It just, there's more crashes than normal. Everybody's a bit more stressed. The starts are harder. Never really lets up, and I guess that's just what the tour is, and it's kind of fun. Today I was second car, which is cool because it's a bit more calm back there. You know, I think the commissaires closer to the pack are a bit stricter, and then the commissaires that are back in that second group of cars, are a bit more relaxed. They kind of know once riders get back there, they're struggling a bit more. So with the crashes, there was actually quite a few. So I started ahead of the field today, and our plan was to get in the breakaway, so I was supposed to slot in between once that established. But with those earlier crashes, we needed to change bikes, and there was more support needed in the caravan. So I actually pulled over at around kilometer 37 and slotted in behind. And then, there was just a lot of action back there. When I'm not needed with our team to service or help the first car, I try to help a lot of people come back. And, you know, if riders are struggling either because they're dropped or because they crashed or they had a mechanical, I try to do my best to pace them back, and I'll take the time to try to get them back into the caravan. At one point today, I was second car. We were car 15, so I was like car 30 with ambulances and commissaires, so car 30, car 40 in the caravan, and both Uno X cars were behind me, both pacing different groups of their riders back in. They had a really terrible day. And what's nice is I think the commissaires close to the peloton are a bit stricter. You know, if there's a Balsamo or a Weebus or whatever, if they're in trouble, they really make them work to get back in. But, you know, once riders get back to where I was today, the commissaires are pretty generous to let us bring the riders back, at least into the caravan, and let them fight their way back up to get back in. And, you know, it's such an important race for the riders and teams that I think it's really nice that, you know, we're allowed to help out a little bit. It also helps the race organizers that the race isn't spread over 15 kilometers of the road that needs to be closed. It keeps it a bit more compact. Racing today was pretty cool. I think, we had our Silke go for it on that second QOM, and I think it almost worked to really break away, but first Visma chased, and you saw them run out of riders, and then Canyon really took over, and I understand why they did. It was just disappointing that they were so strong they were able to bring it back, because I think Silke Brody in her second break of the day, and a few others, that would have been a good move that could have gone to the line. So that was kind of our shot, and we were pretty happy with that, but it did come back together. And I think it just shows, that at the Tour every day is kind of a GC day. If you look at the final climb here, it was 3K at around 5%, a bit steeper at the beginning. And a 3K at 5% not finishing climb on most other days, put that climb in Burgos and it's a sprint day. Almost everybody can get over it. No one really stresses that much. But here we had 6 riders going over the top all together, and everybody else dropped. And to me, that's just crazy. Because 3K at 5% with a steep bottom is definitely a climb, but it's not. I don't know. It's not a GC shakeup kind of thing, and that's what we're seeing at the Tour. Even those first 2 days in Bretagne, they had a couple really hard climbs at the finish, and the group was so small at the top that it's really every day is a GC day. The race isn't long enough to have days off, and everybody's just racing full gas. So tomorrow we hit the mountains for real. There's a Cat 1 and a Cat 2, I think. And before that, a Cat 3 and Cat 4 that look like pretty small little bumps on the elevation map. But even them, they're 3 or 4K long. So it's a true climbing day tomorrow. And I think we'll see some big movers on GC. I think it's pretty clear who the top 3 to 5 are currently. But for sure, there's a few people who are up there who are looking good now, who will slide back when the climbs get that long. And I think probably also there will be a few people that no one's been talking about, no one's noticing, that they haven't been doing anything yet, that will show themselves in the next couple days now that we're in the longer, harder climbs. So, it's been 5 days of full gas racing, but then the Tour starts now, I guess. So, au revoir and bonne nuit, and I'll talk to you later another time. Oh, and just a final note to say that I just got back from dinner, and it's 12:15. That's the glamorous side of bike racing. But the chef, Alessandra, is Italian, and she claims she makes the world's best tiramisu. And for my birthday, she made tiramisu for everybody. And I have to agree that it is the world's best. So pretty happy with that. And we'll check in with everybody later.
Thanks so much for listening. Handing the mic back over to Matt Denif and Georgie Howe for Stage 6 of the Tour de France Femme avec Zwift.